everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lena Saleh, the EdTech Guru, where we explore all things EdTech and education related. All right, let's do this. If this year is any indication of what's on the forefront for education, we know that parents, students, and teachers are in for quite a shakeup for what education has to offer. COVID-19 has projected us much further into the future than we ever expected. It also has opened our eyes to how unprepared the educational landscape has been for quite some time. It really opened up a big window into the holes that we have in our education system. What can you do to prepare for 2025? If Silicon Valley, Austin, Texas are any indication of how the world is moving, we know that the world is moving into technology. You can see that technology throughout all facets of our life. Through Netflix, you no longer have to go to the movie theater. The videos and things are released to you right away, and at the touch of a button, I can learn anything I want to on YouTube. You can look at Amazon's new marketplaces where they don't even have cashiers anymore. You can actually just scan, purchase, and walk out with your app, and you're ready to go. So we need to be preparing for that. It's really going to happen, and we're going to see it even more so happen because of what's happened throughout our shakeup. So some things that you need to start considering are how you can shift the way that you're actually teaching in your classroom. Should you continue to teach everything that you do in isolation? The truth is, you do not need to teach everything in isolation that we've originally been doing it for years. It's time to shake it up, switch it up. This time has not only showcased that, but it's just the truth of which we live in. You're going to start to see that actually schools are going to figure out after this year that they actually don't need to run in person like they had done before. I think we're going to really actually start to see a shift. It may not happen in the next few years, but it's going to happen in at least 5 years. Kids won't actually have to go to school to receive their instruction. And because the way that schools are kind of set up, they're not really preparing our students for what's to come of the future. I can personally speak to that myself. From when I went to college, I just wasn't as prepared as I should have been, and I really didn't know what was out there industry-wise. And I can tell you that every year I do a student startup crawl with the meetup group that I organize here in Austin, and the students go around and their eyes are so large because they don't know the roles that are available to them and what they can do. And if this time is also any indication, you actually don't need to be in office to perform your work. So you can actually be at home, you can actually adjust the way that your lifestyle is. You need to start thinking about how do you become more tech savvy? What do you need to do? Should you become Google certified? These technologies are going to adapt and change over time, but what it's going to do is it's going to give you the ability to adapt quicker with the changes that happen. It's just the resources just really aren't going to change. If you think about MySpace in 2009, that's what we were using, and now it's Facebook, and now you can go on LinkedIn and reach out to anyone in the world. So things are just changing fast and they're changing quick. And we can also see that with the learning management systems that we now have. I can issue a test to a student anywhere in the world right away, and they can see the assignment and complete it wherever they are in the world. It breaks down the barriers that we've originally held before. It also creates greater community. So you need to really start also getting active on social channels. I attended CSTA, and at CSTA, we were also collaborating with people all across the world really quickly. We're all in rooms, communicating, chatting, connecting. Through our meetup group, we also did a virtual meetup. The first time we didn't just have people locally in Austin, there were people all around the country able to join and provide their feedback and input. And so it just created greater depth of conversation than probably would have had before. So you have to start thinking more on a global scale. You also need to start preparing yourself that you don't need to be just tied to a district. How can you set yourself up like industry does with a portfolio, start building up your LinkedIn, start thinking more of an entrepreneurial landscape? I think that as the world shifts, and it's already starting to happen if you look really anywhere, social media, Twitter, is that teachers are actually deciding, should I return to school? And parents are thinking, I don't want to continue in the same way that we continued these last few months when my student really wasn't doing anything. And I'm not saying that you weren't providing really great instruction, but for the most part, students really were not working at the same level that they were working before. So how can you start thinking that way? Can you teach something more streamlined to how the world works? You know, your project-based, problem-based type learning, where you're actually focusing on a problem and working on things to come up with that solution, and not just thinking of things in isolation like, oh, I need to work on this computer science principle. It's how can I work together to kind of integrate everything seamlessly together. Once you start to do that and you start collaborating with other people, then you can start marketing yourself, posting on social media. If you look on social media, all of those teachers that are speaking at events are because they're publicizing the work that they do. And as teachers, overwhelmingly, we don't share about our accomplishments. We keep them in our four walls, and most people don't know who we are. However, in order to get your name out there, you do need to start marketing, start using hashtags, sharing what you're doing. There's so much great work happening, but nobody knows what's happening because you're not marketing yourself correctly. So you need to market yourself as well. And then the next thing is you need to start just filming your lessons. Film the lessons that you would normally teach in person, and students can watch it. I watch YouTube videos all the time, watching tutorials on how to actually complete something. Start doing little mini tutorials and have this library of information. And when you do, you can always go back and edit those tutorials. But then when you're having and hosting your online in-person lessons, you're having deeper, richer conversations, just like you're having when you're attending these virtual conferences. So you need to have a database of where you keep your stuff. So a portfolio of your work, a database of just videos that you've produced. You need to start thinking about that, thinking of yourself more like as a database, basically. And then how are you going to market yourself? Can you put yourself on LinkedIn? Do you have your own webpage? Start getting really active on Twitter. That's where most of the conversations are happening, but also on Instagram through hashtags and conversation that way by reshares and things like that. In the Facebook groups, it's more about collaboration, less so about producing yourself as an entrepreneur. You can see there's some really good examples that show you right here that of teachers that have really kind of built themselves as a brand. So you need to start thinking about yourself as a brand rather than just thinking of yourself as a teacher. We, for a long time, have just bent over and taken whatever the world has given us, and we cannot do that anymore. You actually need to stand up just like anyone would in any kind of business. I'm not going to just do the bare minimum and expect that I'm going to reach the best. Now, there are people that do that, but we'll start to see that that's going to start to phase out very quickly as the workload increases. And when I mean increases, I mean creates uncomfortableness amongst people. People are uncomfortable with change, and you need to get your head wrapped around that. In 2025, I don't think that kids will be going to school 5 days a week. Not going to happen. In 2025, you may not be working for a school district. It might be starting to change. As more people work remotely and collaboratively in these different environments, they also want their students to also, and their kiddos to also experience that. So it's important. Start finding businesses that will let you shadow, tag in on their meetings, find things like, what is a pitch deck? Just trying to find some different things that you can tie into your industry. Find a partner. A lot of these startups are really looking for teachers to kind of partner with because teachers are producing the future. So they need you as much as you need them. So start to understand that you don't just need to be in four walls. There are no barriers of entry anymore. You can reach out and you need to start building a greater network and building yourself like a brand, like the Instagram influencers do. They're brands for themselves. They are paid by advertisements. They're also paid to speak about products. They're getting products constantly sent to them. You can also see the same thing happening on Twitter with teachers. They just are more quiet about it because there's rules and regulations written into place. But are you actually a worse teacher because you're teaching for yourself and you're representing yourself as a brand? No. That's why people are bringing their kids to charter schools for the hope and promise of better educational systems. And I'm not saying what you're doing in your classroom is wrong. It's not. But it's not to the par of preparation of what we need to be preparing our students for. And if anything is shown during that time is this. Get yourselves for a world of 2025. Start taking some certifications. Google has now certifications on Coursera for IT work and different things like that. It doesn't mean that you need to start switching industries because teachers are getting burnt out. They're jumping ship. Especially during this time, they're resigning faster than they ever have before. Why not have better skills in your skill set so you can teach a course on IT? Right? You could teach a computer science principles course. You can decide what you teach. You can set up yourself as a business brand school and show that you're able to prepare that. In Texas, they call it the unschool movement. The laws are a lot looser with how they kind of work as far as the homeschool system. So why not provide that? There's homeschoolers that are looking for this kind of thing from you. And if you can start building yourself as a brand, you're never going to get the recognition that you're searching for from your district. You may get some little bit of recognition, but you know what ends up happening? You end up working another job to support yourself so that you can provide things for your students anyway. So why not start to do that? So think about a database of educational videos and things that you can start to create. Build your portfolio, build up your network, and start treating yourself as a business, because you are a business. Every person that's always in a company always has a role to play, and your role is bigger than you think it is. So it's time for you to stand up and have that belief in yourself. You can do it, and let's get ready for 2025. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Once again, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. My name is Lena Saleh, the EdTech Guru. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.